Hi everyone, it's Mrs. McInnes here. Welcome to lesson 7 of our Trig part 2 topic. So today what we're going to be looking at is a mixture of questions, and we're going to be using both your sine rule and your cosine rule. So what we need to talk about first of all is how do we know which rule to use and when would we use each of the two rules, so your sine rule and your cosine rule. So I've said this in previous videos that the rule that you will use will depend on what information you have been given in your diagram. So often pupils get a bit unsure of how do I know which one to use. My advice would be always look to see if you can use your sine rule first. So always set up your sine rule, see if you have the information that you need to use that, and then if you don't, it will be your cosine rule. Okay, so I'm going to go through some different examples here and really talk you through how we would decide which rule we would use. Okay, so the first example we have in the notes is this example here. So example 12a. So we have our triangle here and we have two sides filled in, one angle filled in, and we're asked for that side x. So first thing we would do in any question that's any type of trig question is label our triangle. So even though there's an x on here, I'm just going to go for A, B and C. So I'm going to go for capital A, capital B and capital C in the angles, and then straight across I'm going to do my small case letters, so A, B and C. So if we first of all just quickly check if we have what we need for sine rule. So A over sine A, B over sine B and C over sine C. Let's have a look and see if we have what we need. So we're being asked to find that side x. So that would be my small letter A. And we also have the angle straight across at capital A. So we have A and we have sine A. Then the only other information that we have is small case letter B and small case letter C. So I've talked about this in the lesson video for sine rule for finding a side, where we talked about that you need two pairs of information for this rule to work. So what I would need for this to work is I would need angle B or angle C as well, so that I have A over sine A and another pair, so B over sine B or C over sine C. There is no way in this particular diagram to fill in angle B or angle C. So I can't fill that in and I can't fill that one in. So sine rule is not going to work for this example. So then by default, if it's not the sine rule, it's going to be your cosine rule. Okay, and remember all these formulas are on the formula sheet. So the side I'm being asked to find, I've labelled that with a small letter A. So the standard formula layout with the letters will be fine here. So it's A squared equals B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cos A. Those letters already match up with the letters on my picture, so I don't have to rearrange to make it fit. It already fits. So in this case, small letter A at that side, it's x. So I'm going to write x squared here because that's the letter that my diagram has. Side B is a 9, so it's 9 squared, plus side C is a 7, so 7 squared, minus 2 times 9 times 7, and then the angle at A is 95, so cos 95. So when we put that into our calculator, we get 140.981 and continuing. So remember I had said in all my previous videos, just do the decimal number to 3 or 4 decimal places and then ... to show that it is a continuing decimal answer. Don't round it at this point. And then remember with your cosine rule, this is x squared, so we would need to square root that number. So 140.981 ... And remember to use your square root and your answer button on your calculator, okay, to get that full decimal answer into the square root. So as an answer, I'm going to go for one decimal place here. 11.9 would be your answer, and that is centimetres because it's a length, remember. Okay, let's now look at a second example and we'll go through the steps again of how we decide which rule we're going to use. So here we have example B, and again the first thing I'm going to do is label the sides of my triangle. So again there's a letter X on here, but I'm just going to go for A, B and C just to make things really simple. So A, B and C, and then my small case letters straight across for my sides, so A, B and C. So again, let's set up our sine rule quickly and just check if we have what we need. So A over sine A, B over sine B, and C over sine C. So on this diagram, we're being asked for the side that's labelled X, so that's my small letter A. We have the angles at B, so we'll highlight that one. We have the angle at C, so we'll highlight that one. And we also have the side B as well, so we can highlight that one. So we talked about for sine rule you need two complete pairs. So we have B over sine B, that's one complete pair. The side I'm trying to find is small letter A. So for sine rule to work, I would need the angle at A. And actually in this case, you can fill that in because you have two of the angles already. So you have 85 and 42. So if we subtract those from 180, we can fill in that third angle to give us the information that we need to do this question. So 180 minus 85 minus 42 leaves us with 53 degrees. So I'm going to fill that in at A. And now I can actually highlight off angle A, and I have the two pairs that I need. So this will work. So sine rule will work in this case. Okay, so if you can fill in something that you need to do the question with sine rule, you would absolutely go ahead and do that. So here we have, if we fill our information into this formula, so we've got A over sine A equals B over sine B. So on this diagram, the side that's labelled with an A, that's X, and my angle there is 53. So X over sine 53, and then side B is 15 over the angle at B, which is 85, so sine 85. So it's been a few lessons since we have done a sine rule calculation. If you don't really remember how to do the working, it is very similar to when we do arcs and sectors. So we have our two parts of our formula. We're now going to cross multiply, starting with the unknown value. So X times sine 85 is equal to, and then multiply the other way, sine 53 times 15, and then we're trying to find X, so that's been multiplied by sine 85, so we're going to divide both sides by sine 85. So we've got sine 53 times 15 over sine 85. You'll see here as well that I'm putting these angles in the sine parts into brackets. Your calculator will need those angles in a bracket so that it does the operation correctly. If you don't put it in a bracket, your calculator may do sine of 53 times 15. It might not do sine 53 and then that times 15. So make sure you close off the angles in a bracket. So when we do this on the calculator, I'm just going to go for the rounding to the nearest whole number here because it rounds quite nicely. So 12 centimetres would be your answer here. Okay, let's move on and look at our next example. So example C. So this time we are being asked to find an angle. So we're going to go through the same process again of deciding which rule to use. So the first thing I'm going to do is label my triangle. So again, I'm just going to go for A, B and C. You can use any letters that you want to use. So A, B and C, and then straight across my small case letters, straight across from my capital letters for my sides. So again, let's set up our sine rule and see if we have what we need to do sine rule. So, and the more you do this, the quicker you'll get at recognising if you have what you need without having to write the formula out and ticking off various sections. But if you want to do this, it takes 2 seconds to do, and it's quite an easy way to see if you've got the information that you need to use your sine rule. So we're being asked for the angle at A. So I'm going to highlight sine A first of all. And I've got the angle across here at C. So I'm going to highlight that one. And then the two sides that I have is small a and small c. So straight away we can see that we have the information that we need for sine rule. So this one's going to be sine rule again, but this time it's for an angle. So let's go ahead and fill it in. So a over sine A equals c over sine c. So the information on my picture here, we have 13.6 as small letter a, and angle x is my angle at a, so it's sine x here. And then side C is 9.4 and the angle at C is 23, so sine 23. And then your working is exactly the same as we did in the last example. So we're cross multiplying, starting with the unknown value. So sine x times 9.4, and that's going to be equal to 13.6 times sine 23. So to solve here for sine x, we've multiplied by 9.4 in the previous line, so we're going to divide by 9.4. So it'll be 13.6 times sine 23 divided by 9.4. So when you put this into your calculator, okay, and remember, if you can use the little fraction button, that will be useful when you're doing these types of questions. If we pop this into your calculator, you're going to get for sine x a long decimal answer again, so 0.5653 ... And then we need x, so the opposite step to sine of x would be inverse sine of that answer, so 0.5653, so on. Again, here, remember to use the shift button, inverse of sine, so shift sine, and then your answer key. That will put that full big long decimal answer into the function, so you'll get an accurate answer. So when you do this, I'm going to go for one decimal place here. Angle x, we get 34.4 degrees. Okay, we have one final example to look at here. So in this one, we have three sides and we're being asked for one angle. So we're going to do the exact same again. We're going to label our triangle first of all. So again, I'm going to stick with A, B, and C. So A, B, and C as capitals for the angles. And then straight across, we have our small case letters for the sides. So if we set up our sine rule very quickly, we can check if we have what we need. So A over sine A equals B over sine B equals C over sine C. So in this case, we have the angle at A is what we're being asked for. And we actually have all three sides. So we have all three of these small case letters. So to be able to use sine rule here, we would need another angle to make another complete pair. We cannot do that. There's no way to fill that in. So in this case, this will not work. Okay, sine rule will not work. So because it's an angle, it's going to be your cosine rule for finding your angle. So actually here, the way I've lettered this does fit the formula, the standard formula. It fits that as it is, so I don't need to rearrange it. So your formula will be cos A equals b squared plus c squared minus a squared, and then that's all going to be over 2bc. So if we go ahead and fill in the numbers from the diagram, we have cos, I'm going to change the a to an x because that's the letter on the diagram, so we're going to write an x in there. So your side B, we have 10.2 squared. For side C, we have 6.3 squared, and then side A we have 8.5 squared, and then all of that is going to be over 2 times 10.2 times 6.3. So if we type that into our calculator, I'm just going to move my page up slightly. 10.2 squared plus 6.3 squared minus 8.5 squared. And remember here, use that fraction button on your calculator, that button there. If you have that, just makes things a little bit simpler to do when you're typing it in. If you don't have that button, just type the top line in a bracket and then do divided by, and then type the bottom line in a bracket. And that'll work the same way. So here we get cos x equals, and it's a big long decimal answer again, so 0. I'm going to write the first maybe 4 numbers, so 4 decimal places, so 55 So that's showing that that continues on. And then I need to find x. So cos of x, the opposite would then be inverse cos. So cos inverse of my last answer. Use that answer button if you can. So 0.5561 ... And here you will get an answer of 56. I'm going to go for one decimal place, so 56.2. 56 would be fine as well, if you want to go for the nearest angle. Okay, so I know that's quite a lot of examples, but all of those pieces of working you have done already, you've done before. So really now I just need you to spend some time practicing deciding which rule to use. Okay, so I have chosen quite a few questions of this. This is going to take us 2, possibly 3 periods to work on, so I am not expecting you to get a lot of these questions done in the lesson that I'm setting today. I just want you to make a start if you have the time to make a start on it, and we will work on this for, like I said, 2, possibly 3 periods. So in the booklet it is page 33. The questions I've chosen there are 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 10. So a whole mixture of questions, all different sort of variations of information being given on the diagrams, and really we now need to spend the time really focusing in that skill of knowing which rule to use. Is it sine rule, is it cosine rule, and then working our way through the steps of working. Okay, so I would like you to make a start on this today if you have the time. I know this will be a longer video maybe than normal, so if you watch through the video, take note of the examples that I've done, and then make a start on what you can make a start on. Please email me whatever you get done today, even if it's just a couple of questions. Mark it from the back of the book and email it to me today so that I can see how far on we are. It's really important that I get a good picture of where as a class you get to in this lesson in particular, so I know how long we need to spend on this, because we will take our time to make sure that we are really reinforcing the skills from what we've done in the last few lessons. Alright, so please email me photos of whatever you get done today, marked from the back of the book as well, please. It makes it quicker for me to check. And if you need any help, pop onto the Teams page and ask any questions that you have on there. Alright, thanks very much for listening, guys. I know it was a longer video, so I appreciate you listening and sticking with it, and I will speak to you all in the next lesson.